Hello, and welcome to the Footy Podcast. To benefit Here's Help. Here's Help is a nonprofit comprehensive rehabilitation and educational agency that's been providing treatment services in South Florida since 1968. For more information on Here's Help or Footy's podcast, you can contact us at 305-685-8201. If you need help or know someone who has a substance abuse or alcohol problem, you can call our admissions office at 305-685-8201, extension 224. If you'd like to make a cash donation to Here's Help and join the fight against drug abuse, call Footy at 305-685-8201, extension 227. Now, here's Footy.
Welcome to the Footy Podcast. We're here once a week. We record this show at the studios at Here's Help. Here's Help, of course, is the program, the facility that we support, and we have really, I would say, a sprawling campus at this point. Maybe we'll be bigger than the Hurricanes. Anyway,
I don't know about that.
Ron Hershey's here with us, and we have Footy Sauce so that you can go to Publix and complain if they don't have it, and let us know. And we're here every week, and we cover a myriad of a lot of projects. You know, we did Howard Schnellenberger last week.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked him.
I did too.
He was a great guy.
I'm sure I didn't have as many interactions with him as you did.
Yeah,
but
he had
the 2 or 3 times that I was around him, he was just one of those icons, you know.
Well, he was a guy's guy. He just had a way.
Right.
He didn't force it on you. He had a way. And when you were with Howard, you knew you were with the guy.
Yeah.
It was pretty clear.
He had a real swagger, very confident in his
Yeah.
demeanor. You know.
And speaking of greats, this morning I happened to see it. I have a picture with me, Dan Marino, Pepe Vidilla, and a lot of greats in there. I think I'm going to bring that picture in one day.
Well,
and because I loved Coach Shula.
Yeah.
Coach Shula was just, to me, that he was it.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. Never raised my hand, never asked a question, never challenged him in any way. And I remember when we went out to camp with Cheech and Chong, and he came walking in the locker room. It was like he had no idea who they were. He didn't know anything but football at that time, and he was like, "Who are these guys?" And he played along, but he had no idea who they were. But that's the way he was. That guy was walking, talking, thinking. Yeah. Football, thinking this, thinking that. If you look at records, he's got some records. So, great coach. And I see Mike from time to time, and we talk about the coach.
Oh, speaking of that, last week we were talking about Shula and the Dolphins and the great success they had and how hard it was for them to find a coach after Shula retired. And I kept talking about the horrible decision to bring in this one coach, and all I could think of was tuna. Remember, I couldn't think.
Oh yeah, the tuna.
It was Bill Parcells. It hit me.
But I don't know if Bill Parcells was the tuna. He was.
For some reason, that was what stuck in my head.
Stuck in your head.
They gave him an office, and it was just a desk. He never. He was never there long enough to occupy it.
Yeah.
And wouldn't refer to the players by name, called them all by their numbers.
What a jackass.
And he left as quietly as he arrived and took a huge paycheck and literally did nothing.
Yeah, he was I don't know. I think he was a charlatan.
Right.
He wasn't a real coach. He wasn't
one of those guys who was successful because of the people around him, not necessarily. But speaking of finding things, and
don't forget that the great former quarterback of the Miami Dolphins was also a coach at FIU. And who am I talking about? Come on.
Was Dan a coach at FIU?
Close.
Don Strock?
Ding, ding.
Really?
Ding, ding.
Butch is now the coach at FIU.
Yeah.
He was the one that swore he was not leaving. Or was it the Miami Hurricanes? He swore he wasn't leaving, and then the next day he took off, and everybody hated him. But over the weekend, speaking of the past and great things, I have to show you what I discovered. We're gonna put a slide up of this on the podcast. This fell out of one of my little box of collections yesterday. It is
Oh my God!
How about that? A Footy's Wingding button from the very first Wingding, 1986, Pembroke Lakes Mall. It lasted about 5 hours max, from start to finish. How about that?
It's gonna be big. 100. Yeah,
I
remember that one.
Is that crazy?
You know why I remember that?
That was the craziest thing. I remember talking about it and planning it, and the Pembroke Lakes Mall hadn't opened yet, and we knew, we called her Monkey Woman, remember?
Yeah.
Was the marketing director there, and she was helping us put it together, and we thought, being as how the mall hadn't opened yet, it'd be a perfect place because they had that big parking lot.
We left one little factor out of that.
What was that?
That there was no way to dispose of
all that chicken oil and chicken grease.
Chicken oil, yeah. And we basically ruined the entire parking lot and left.
Now, from what you were telling me, I think, all the vendors that were there for the competition, the wing, dumped all the oil somewhere.
They just poured it out.
And didn't that delay the opening of the mall? They had to bring.
Oh yeah, it was a mess for like a week. They had to bring a crew in to. You know, we
like a hazmat.
I remember you and Sonny were on the stage playing guitar and some other things, and the woman you're talking about is
she still there?
No, she's not still there. Do you know who you're talking about?
All I can remember was she would call up and make monkey noises on the phone. That's all, and we called her Monkey Woman, and I know she worked at Pembroke Lakes. So fill me in.
Well, that was her. She was a great person.
She really was, and a super fan, and I hope she didn't get in too much trouble after the first Wingding.
I think she did get in a little trouble.
I would imagine.
We all got in some trouble because we didn't. Yeah, well, the mayor at that time. How can I put this?
That was Flanagan, right?
Yeah, he had a habit of no boundaries at all.
Uh-huh.
He went there. They told us the night before. The guy came from the county, and he said, "You're not putting you have a big thing here tomorrow. What are you, crazy people?"
Mm-hmm. That I remember.
And Flanagan told him, "Oh yes, we are, and I'm going to be here with these officers waiting for you." He did.
That's too much.
Chuck Flanagan,
but he loved you, man.
What happened is, the next morning came, he didn't show up. The guy never came.
Oh wow.
We just did whatever the hell we wanted to do, and that was based on Mayor Flanagan. Just like, screw you. This is my town. We're doing it. And he did. We did. I think we did 2 or 3 there before we moved.
I think so. And I just remember we weren't really sure what kind of a turnout we were going to have, and
no, we had no idea of anything.
And for some reason, I was handed the responsibility of making all the stage announcements. So I was up on, I think, probably a flatbed truck, and I was looking out over this sea of humanity, and I couldn't believe my eyes. And it went from that.
Y100 to this day. And back then,
especially, if you put on an event, people,
they came
for anything. It didn't matter what it was. But I just remember I couldn't get over. I think we were all kind of surprised by the turnout.
I wasn't. I kind of expected it because
it was amazing. And then, like you said,
I'd been through it a number of times.
Yes. Well, this was the first, so we didn't quite know.
Well, the first Wingding, but it wasn't the first event that we went through.
We'd done several.
I went all the way back to Bill Tanner, and we would go to a mall, and there'd be inside the mall. It'd be a mob scene to come.
Oh, somebody not too long ago on Facebook posted a picture of you and me and Sonny and Mark Goodman, the VJ from MTV. And we had done some sort of appearance at the Broward Mall in front of Specs, and it was just like I said, just a sea of humanity. It was amazing. But getting back to the wingding, so it started off at Pembroke Lakes Mall, 1986. I think it was like 4 or 5 hours max, maybe a whole day. Because remember,
a whole day for me, I could tell you that.
Well, remember, we had to wrap it up because we had to get down to Hialeah Speedway because the three of us, you, me, and Sonny, were driving cars in the Enduro that night. So we had a full action-packed day. And if I'm not mistaken,
I remember Sonny. Sonny. Anyway, they had sort of a warm up. You could run around. Mm-hmm. I went around once in the car and put what's this going to
What's the point? Yeah.
Yeah. So and he went around like 26 times, going crazy, and everybody's like, "What are you doing? Wait till the race starts."
Right.
You go on there. And in the race, he in the first lap, he crashed.
Well, of course, naturally.
Yeah, so it was like, okay, Sonny, way to go.
Well, the thing was about the Enduros, it was all media people, and it became like bumper cars because all the other radio stations hated us because we were kicking their butt in the ratings. So all the other DJs were looking to take us out. So
they didn't take me out.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't that the night? The night that we raced after the wingding, wasn't that the night that you crashed and your car caught on fire?
My car there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did on turn 4.
Yes, right in front of right in front of me.
I went right through the barrier. I hit the bleachers. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you a funny story about that. I hit the bleachers and I had to jump out the passenger window because the car went on fire.
I remember. And it seemed like forever. It took you forever to get out.
Defective equipment, no more, no less. but wait. So that week, I forget his name. He had a car dealership up in Broward, and I had to go there. And I went there, and this lady is looking at me and shaking her head around, and she was in the bleachers that I crashed into. I almost killed her, and she was like the biggest night of her life. And Joe, what was his name? Good guy. Anyway, but we were always doing stupid stunts.
Right, we thought we were invincible.
But I was racing boats, so, right, for real.
In those days, the more life-threatening, the better for us.
But it was for real. I wasn't. It was at the Holiday Isle and the West Coast, the Key West. We raced everywhere, but it was real racing. It wasn't it wasn't a bunch of guys like trying to be whatever.
Right.
And I enjoyed that night. I made a lot of good friends, and Dave and Gary Jeffries, who I still see Gary from time to time. Yeah, he's the legend lives on. He's got like a trucking company or something.
Oh man!
But him and I had a lot of fun.
He was so funny.
We had a lot of fun. Well, we were going to Bimini all the time, and one night we were leaving, and we went to Ellistown, got some conch chowder and whatever, screwed around, played the ring game, and then it was dark, so we got in the boat and we were leaving. And it was Gary and I, and it was his boat. Oh boy, if I could tell, with the things we did with that. But anyway, all of a sudden, we're idling out of Allistown in Bimini. And we knew how to get through the reef, so it was, even in the dark, we could go. So I'm seeing these lights. What the hell was that? There's lights come
out in the ocean.
Well, as we were idling out, and I'm going, what the hell are the lights? And Gary goes, get down. I go, what? We hit the throttles. No, they were tracer bullets. They were firing tracer bullets at us.
Oh my God!
Now you got to remember that's their own country.
Right.
They have their own,
their own laws, their own rules,
their own rules, their own things, and And a lot of them are based on what you could do for them.
Mm-hmm.
And they were shooting tracer bullets at us. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And then Gary figured it out.
Right.
And he says, get down. We took off. And when we got to the other side, the U.S. Coast Guard grabbed us. What are you doing? Where are you going? Where you been? Whose boat? You know. And I was like, I don't know, man.
Oh, I remember that. They actually took you guys in. I mean, it wasn't like a...
No, they weren't happy with us at all.
Well, what was the problem? Just because you were in a boat at night, they just assumed the worst, or they knew
you? we fit a certain profile.
Oh, okay.
And
fast boat.
But you know what was funny? It was the Coast Guard.
Mm-hmm.
But they were very reasonable. And customs, and the other authorities, they were really they were like, what we said, we're coming back from Bimini.
Mm-hmm.
Back then you could run back and forth and just check in and check. You can't do it now, you can do it. But they, if you told them where you were and what you really did, we were also fishermen.
Mm-hmm.
We were fishing, we were diving, we were doing all kinds. If it had water, we were in it.
Right.
All right.
Right.
And Gilmore and all those guys. It was just a special time. I couldn't wait for the day to end and for weekends.
Yeah.
Because I had a whole other world
Mm-hmm.
that I was living in, and Joe Roth, the things he did.
Oh, Joe Roth.
He lit the whole place on fire one time.
What place?
Holiday Isle. He was the one that started with the fireworks. Okay, so I'm with my sons, Johnny and Nick.
Mm-hmm.
They were little kids, Right. And we go down for the fireworks. Well, Joe puts us in a boat, like a flat bottom boat, and we idle out to the barge that had all the fireworks on it.
This was 4th of July?
I don't know what it was.
Probably, because I
If
remember.
it wasn't, we made it 4th of July. But the thing about it was, everybody, how can I explain this? That world, they understood it.
Mm-hmm.
But the normal world would have said, are you out of your minds? And Joe, me, Johnny, Nick, we went out to the barge.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy that was the pyrotechnics expert came in a Ryder truck full of fireworks. And I believe he might have had a 5th grade report card. But anyway, they started shooting fireworks off. Yeah, I'm thinking that and I had a lot of experience with fireworks through my life, but that there would be some kind of rational safety effort of some kind. And I had Johnny and Nick, I had them in raincoats and rain outfits, the rubber.
Mm-hmm.
You should have seen, they were all black marks and stains all over. And the whole barge just started shooting fireworks in every direction. And Joe, he had a lot of chutzpah, boy.
Yeah,
he
sure
didn't care.
Yeah.
The fireworks are hitting Holiday Isle and igniting the tiki huts, whatever they were.
The tiki bar, with that thatch
No, not
roof.
the bar. Also the
little one outside with the thatch roof.
They had them all over the place. Had them all up and down the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they were all on fire. And Joe is on the boat laughing like crazy because the thing's on fire. I said, Joe, it's your place. Don't worry about it.
I got insurance.
Yeah, there's no problem in the place. And I had to bring the kids home, and with
covered in soot.
Burn stains on their outfits to get home. But we had a lot of fun down there. We did a lot of offshore racing down there too.
Yeah.
I did my first super class with Gary Jeffries, and he didn't own the boat. The owner was I don't know what was his name, but he hated us. because we just thought everything was a joke, and the engine blew up in the race, and it was just ridiculous. Howard Quam, that was his name.
He owned the boat.
Well, he did. He owned it till we got it.
Well, speaking of Joe Roth, when I found my Footy Wingding button over the weekend, also in the little bag of goodies was one of those big blue buttons that said, "I'm a personal friend of Joe Roth." Remember those?
Yeah.
And one of the many.
Joe was he was a character.
He was
let
the
me
best.
Tell you.
And
there was no limit to what he would do.
no, there wasn't. Nothing.
I used to go, Joe, you're kidding, right?
Yeah.
No, don't worry about it.
Well, I just remember checking in down there one time, and he came out and said, "Well, listen, we're all booked up, so I'm going to have to
He put you in Howard Johnson?
book you in the Howard Johnsons."
Yeah.
And I said, "When did you buy the Howard Johnsons?" And he goes, "I got tired of people telling me my rates were too high. People would come in and say, 'Oh, I'm not paying that. That's highway robbery. I'll go next door to the Howard Johnsons.'" So he bought the Howard Johnsons. So when they said that, he would say, "Go ahead."
Well, he used that also as for all the deadbeats.
Well, thanks.
No, there was a lot of trouble over there.
Yeah.
There were like fights at night, and there was all kinds of stuff going on there. It was no joke. I stayed away from it. It was crazy. It was really crazy. But with Joe, it was a good idea to stay away from just about everything. But I had a lot of fun with him. I loved him. I think his son and his daughter, they were operating Holiday Isle for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine they sold it by then. But
Yeah.
God, you talk about, boy, times. You go down there on the weekend, and you came back.
I used to tell people I spent a lifetime, several weekends, and we used to have that when Rick Stacy was the program director of Y100. He was the one who instituted the Friday afternoon blast off, the weekend blast off, where they would break format and play whatever song they felt like. And somebody got the bright idea to do.
You're talking about like Tony and them? They were
playing
music there.
Well, we were doing it on the air, and then somebody got the bright idea of making it a live event at Holiday Isle at the Tiki Bar. And I just remember, like all the Y100 events, the place was packed. You couldn't, you got your drink like this because if you put your arm down, you'd never get another sip. They were packed in like sardines. And we were playing all this music at full volume, and there were so many people dancing on the quote unquote dance floor, which was basically 2x4s, that there were so many people you could see the lumber was bowing like this. And at the end, when we finally signed off at 6 or 7 o'clock that Friday night, whatever it was, the nails in the 4x4s were this high up off. They'd actually raised up from the floor because so many people were dancing.
Plus
you could definitely see the floorboards bowing under the weight of. I kept thinking they were going to break and we were going to have a major catastrophe. Joe would have laughed. He would have thought it was great.
He brings this guy in. Footy, come here. And did you ever go in his office?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you notice that it was a mirror that you could look out and they couldn't see you? And
that I was never privy to, like a two-way mirror, huh? Oh boy.
Well, Joe thought it was hilarious. So we used to sit there and eat shrimp, and and what happened was, women in particular would stop at the window and start rearranging themselves.
Oh my gosh!
Themselves, getting ready. And me and Joe would be behind the thing.
Oh my
Lord!
Lord!
Look at this one, Joe. Hey, look at this. Anyway, so you never knew with him, but anyway, he gets this guy from like Chicago. He somehow or another talks him into coming down.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy was like, had the truck, and he would go to events and carnivals and hot dogs, whatever he was
like
cooking.
The precursor to the food trucks of the.
Yeah. He comes, and he's in the parking lot. Joe takes me over to him, and the guy's all pissed off because he's like, "Well, where are the people?" And I said, "Well, wait a while. They'll be here."
Uh-huh.
And he didn't understand he was in the Florida Keys.
Right.
I think he was from Chicago or Cleveland or somewhere. Joe got him somehow or another. And the guy's there in the parking lot with the little truck. And I'm looking at him, and I'm going, boy, wait till about 1 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And he's pissed off, and he's pissed off at Joe. He was pissed off at me. He was pissed, and he was really smoking mad because I guess he was used to going to things that had an actual opening.
Right.
You went in when it opened, and everybody would go in, and that is not the way Holiday Isle operated.
Well, he drove all the way down from Chicago. He was
yeah, I
expecting,
forget where he came from, Cleveland somewhere.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at him going, don't worry, just
Right.
stick around. And Joe keeps doing things to annoy him. And anyway, so it gets to be like 2, 3 o'clock, when things really got cooking. And I go over to the van, and I go, how's it going? And the guy is sweating profusely. He can't breathe. He's all this kind of stuff. I said, I told you it's going to get. And he was out of his mind. So the guy made a fortune. He was in there, and all those little trucks that would go in there. But they had to pay Joe. But anyway, when the day was over, I walk over with Joe to the guy, and I'm like, so how'd it work out? And he goes, oh, boy, what a day. This is great, the greatest thing ever. So you know what Joe did? He bought the truck and threw the guy off the property.
No way.
No, because he's going to make him his partner now. No, he's got the truck. He's got the truck.
Oh, my gosh.
And the guy, it was like, Joe slipped him whatever, and Joe told him, get in your car and get out of here. That's my truck now.
Buy a bus ticket.
Yeah. I thought I saw him hitchhiking on the way back out of the Keys.
Oh, my God.
Oh, God.
We had, when we were at, Sonny and I were at Magic. Actually, I don't think Sonny was in the band at that point. But we had the Don't Quit Your Day Job band. We played oldies and stuff. And Mark Lindsey, formerly of Paul Revere and the Raiders, featuring Mark Lindsey, was performing. And Joe brought us down. We opened up for Mark Lindsey down there at Holiday Isle, and they put us all up at the Ramada. And yeah, as you said, it was a wild night. You didn't get much sleep that night.
No, with the fireworks. You know what I used to love too, because he had the restaurant.
Oh, up on the top?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that place.
And I loved it because he would go, come on, we're going to dinner. And we would go, they had like a guardrail around it somehow or another. And Joe would have a big table there, and we'd all go and eat and drink and have a good time. It was really, it was something to behold.
Do you remember when we did that promotion with the Florida Keys Chamber for Fantasy Fest?
Oh yeah.
And we did our show from I think the first stop was A La Mirada. Then the second was I just remember Ferro Blanco was the
Ferro Blanco, the resort.
I don't remember what key that was.
That was a resort. It was like between.
It was between.
It was on the way.
It was
to
like
Key
the
West.
halfway point.
Yeah.
And then we finished up.
No, we raced out of there.
Oh gosh.
We raced boats out of there.
Yeah.
And you know what happened? We would have to go around the harbor. Then we had to go under the bridge.
Under that bridge, yeah.
And then we had to come back through another opening. So they had these colored things hanging. And the guy that we were involved with, he was a little on the weak side. And who was I with? Anyway, he wouldn't go through the bridge. He pulled the throttles back, and we had run across the reef before that, so we had to. Yeah. And he just was in shock. He didn't know what to do.
Well, I just remember you're talking about that outdoor top of the hotel restaurant, and the hotel was like 4 or 5 floors.
Yeah.
So we do our first show, and that's where we did it from. They put us outside.
This is at Ferro Blanco.
No, at Joe Ross at Holiday Isle. They put us upstairs outside in that little round patio with the guardrail.
The 2x4s with the nails sticking out.
Well, no, that was the little tiki hut down below. This was real nice. This was just outside the restaurant. So we're broadcasting live, and about 7 o'clock, I guess, when they finally opened for breakfast, Joe sent out Bloody Marys.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And so here we are. We're up on the 5th floor and this.
And he's getting
beautiful
ready
place.
to get in the boat and start
he's
taking
ready to
pictures.
take off. We're sipping Bloody Marys, and the sun's coming up over the ocean. And I just remember sitting there on the air thinking, God, man, it just can't get any better than this. How could life be any better?
Well, you should have waited till nighttime when the whole place went on fire.
Well,
including my kids.
oh man, the thing is we had so.
You know what was that place on? We used to stop on the way down. That all the motorcycle guys. It was
The Last Chance in Key Largo.
Yeah, maybe that was it. Yeah, we used to go. We used to stop in there.
Yeah.
But there was a little place next to it,
Mm-hmm.
which was sinking. It was called the Tilton Hilton. The guy called it, and this guy it was a barge. And I said, well, let's go here. That's crowded over there with all the biker guys. Who knows what. So we go in, and we get inside. The thing is tilting like it's sinking while we're on it. And he's making this shrimp. And I'm like, we got to get out of here. This is not good at all.
Well, that broadcast, when we got off the air at 10 after the Bloody Marys, who shows up but Ron Harrison? He comes.
Well, Ron was always at Holiday Isle.
Well, yeah, he practically lived. He lived in Key Largo, right?
Yeah, and then he would go. He had a wife,
Right.
and she was. Well, how can I put this? In the normal range,
Right.
and that was interesting because he was a radio guy, and he did
Long-time sportscaster
for years, and he's terrific.
Right.
But he commuted every day from
Key Largo.
Key Largo.
I remember because we worked together when we were.
But
at Magic.
he used to go down. He used to go. Nights, weekends, he was always going down there. You know, he'd start having a few drinks. He'd be, and he had a wave runner that he used to run around on.
Too funny.
No, he got lost on it. They had to send the Coast Guard out to find him. He fell off it, and they got him. No, but I was at Ron Harrison's condo the day the wife talked him into going into.
Oh, rehab. Yeah, that was sad.
And I'm there, and she
Yeah.
knew me, and Ron, and Ron's packing up and walking around. And
Right.
everything's going along, and Ron's going to go in for the rehab and this, that, and the other thing. And I'm, good luck. Right. I hope it works out for you. He used to broadcast on the weekends from that place on the other side of the canal, the canal.
Right.
Then there was Holiday Isle, then there was the canal, and then there was another resort, and we used to go over there.
Can't think of what it was
No,
called.
he would every weekend,
Yeah.
Friday and Saturday. But I mean, he had a drink in his hand at 8:00 in the morning,
Yeah.
and he would go back and forth on the wave runner, and he would only make it about half the times. Anyway, I'm there the morning he's supposed to ship off.
Oh, wow.
And well, it was the best thing. It was
Well,
a good thing for him.
It
But,
didn't quite turn out that way, but
No, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
she's finishing packing, and they're getting ready to leave, and he goes, "Oh, wait!" And he went back. He said he forgot something,
yeah.
and he put the gun to his head.
And
And
that
that
was
was
it.
the end of that.
Well,
Good guy.
Yeah, I loved
You know what it
Ron.
was though? He was just
He just marched to his own drum.
but he was basically,
and
he
he was like a Keys guy.
Yeah,
he had that Keys mentality.
yeah, he was drinking at 8:00, 7:00 in the morning.
Well, so everybody does in the Keys.
Yeah,
So
I waited till at least the sun started to go down.
at least till lunch.
yeah, whatever.
Well, the two things that day when he came idling up in his boat, and he took us to that barge. I think that's how we wound up at that barge that day. Was he took us there for lunch. That was one of the most incoherent days I've ever had in my life, and I paid for it the next day at Ferrablanco. That morning was a rough morning for me.
Yeah, we raced at Holiday Isle, and then we raced at Ferrablanco.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we went to Key West, and we raced there.
Yeah. Well.
And then we went to the West Coast, and that was the Miami, Florida tour, and we raced there. But what they did there was they had a triangular course. I'm going because I know how to navigate now. Triangular. what's the point of this? Why don't we just have one triangle and go out and come back?
Right.
But this had like triangles that you had to go by.
Mm-hmm.
And what they basically were doing were causing everybody to go in a different direction. No, it was getting, you are, you're going, and next thing you know, you hear a superboat coming. And it's like, and you're coming right at us. Nobody knew which way to go. They made the course untenable, and it was like, what are you? We pulled off. We said, this is crazy. I didn't run this thing because we ran in. You know, where the people, they were standing in the water like with a drink, and they were on the race course. Mm-hmm. And then we're turning and going out and trying to figure out this triangle. And
my God,
it was like, you know, right. I told the guy, I'm never coming to the West Coast again. You guys don't know what you're doing. I said, we know how to do it.
Right.
Go there and come back, hopefully.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the two things I remember the most about Ron was we eventually got to work together when I was at Magic because I forget who owned it, but they also owned the AM station Mike Ranieri was on with Henry Barrow and Ron Harrison. And every morning...
But who was the woman they had on there?
Oh, I don't know.
Because she hated the world.
I'm lucky I even remember those three names, but it was just so...
Who were the three names?
Ranieri, Mike Ranieri, Henry Barrow, and Ron Harrison doing the show. I think
Ranieri was like from the 40s.
Oh, he was huge in Cleveland. I remember we went up there for the World Series, and everybody there said, "You're from Miami? How's Mike Ranieri?" He was like God in Cleveland.
Yeah.
But just being able to walk down the hallway and look in that window and see those three, you know, I kind of grew up listening to those three guys, so it was very cool. But Ron made that drive every morning from Key Largo to do the show. I think Mike bought the time and then sold the advertising. I think it was one of those broker things.
There was a woman on that.
You said, but I can't remember. But I just remember I'd always run into Ron in the morning when he came in. He would always stop somewhere and get a little disposable razor and a little can of shaving cream every day. He wouldn't shave till he got off the air. I guess he figured he didn't have time to shave before he left. But he would be coming. There was a long hallway when you came in the back door of the radio station. There was a very long hallway.
And that was INZ or?
I know we were at Magic and 940.
Yeah, I think that's.
I think it may have been INZ. But Ron would be coming down the hallway with his eyes closed, holding that little bitty bag with that razor and his finger on the wall. It was like he was getting some extra minutes of sleep walking like this.
He was quite a character.
He was. And the other thing I remember is I used to listen to him, like as I said, what station it was. Maybe it was a Y100, but I would listen to him in the morning. And as I was going in, so 5:30 one morning, and now the sports brought to you by, and now here's sportscaster Ron Harrison. And the music fades out, and when you hear, I'd like to begin this morning by thanking the jackass who almost ran me off Card Sound Road this morning. And now the sports.
Yeah, he was quite a character. He was from Cleveland, right? I think so.
Ranieri was.
But so was Harrison.
Maybe that was the connection.
He was from up there.
But those three guys.
I remember how creepy that was. I was in the condo.
Oh, that was sad.
And
that was.
She was packing him up, and he was going. And I walked down to the parking lot. Next thing you know, blew his brains out.
Wow, sad news.
Wow.
Well, listen, let's take a break and sell some Footy
on that
Sauce.
happy, fun note.
Well, thanks to you. But we'll take a short break, and we'll...
If I told you all the places and all the times that I was shot at...
Well, maybe we'll talk about that
or
one podcast.
Or was involved in getting shot at.
Okay.
You'd be very surprised.
Well, I think that'd make a great podcast. I'm going to hold you to that. Yeah. I'm going to make you divulge that information.
Hey, let's see if Footy lived this week.
We'll be right back.
Have you been introduced to Footy Sauce? Footy Sauce makes it easy to give ordinary chicken wings extraordinary flavor. Footy Wing Sauce is made with a perfect blend of herbs and spices. So what are you waiting for? Pour it on. Footy's Wing Sauce guarantees you a better taste than chicken wing every single time. When you fire up the grill, pour it on. Let Footy be your wingman. Kick your next party up a notch with Footy Sauce. Grab Footy's wing sauce and pour it on.
Well, we're back and you're still here. Nobody shot you during the break.
Well, I don't know.
The day is still young.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. Now, I know Gary and I got shot at coming out of Bimini with the
tracer bullets, yeah.
Tracer bullets. But I got shot at in other situations. You know, you start running around those islands and you start running around, you know, obscure places. And
right.
You know, I remember we were hunting in the Everglades and with some local people from there was a turn off there. I forget what it was called.
Off the alley?
Huh?
Off the alley, off Alligator Alley?
Yeah, but there was the alley,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was a side road.
Snake Road?
It wasn't a snake road. It had a couple of stores on it,
Mm-hmm.
and we went there. And we went out.
Sounds like Andy Town. No?
It was. Well, anyway, we went out to me, Jim Reilly, duh. Okay, and we all went out hunting in the Everglades, and they were, what was his name? Merrill Van?
Boy, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, I think.
Merrill,
And he knew all of the, you know, the Everglades, the
hot spots.
No, he knew the guys that were in the most obscure,
Hmm.
and we went hunting, and we got lost in the dark, so we had to wait till dawn to get light to get out, which to them was normal.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, yeah, we gotta wait till the sun comes up. We'll be fine, no problem. Like,
We'll just sit here in the swamp,
yeah,
in the
yeah,
total
pretty
darkness,
much is.
surrounded by snakes and alligators.
Well, me, Jim
mosquitoes.
Reilly, and who was with? I think my son Johnny was with us, and we went, and we were walking around, and we walked into a camp, and I'm like, I don't think this is a very good idea. And it was a lot of you know, gator type guys, but it was just a lot of Indians there, and they stopped us. They said, "You ain't going anywhere." And I said, anyway, we finally were allowed to leave, and God knows what they were doing, because airboats were coming in and out, and I think they were just trying to isolate us from the activity. So we eventually were able to walk our way out, and you know how we found the camp? The real camp that we were staying at.
No.
They were shooting the guns to
Oh.
give us signals to go there. We went there, and no, it was quite a, how can I say, quite experience.
I can imagine.
But I was pretty familiar with that kind of stuff anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we we eventually got out, and we eventually were leaving. Somehow or another, really knew somebody who lived in the Everglades.
That doesn't surprise me.
They had like a dirt thing going out into where the so-called house was, and we drive in there. And I told Johnny, I said, get down. You know, just
How old is he about this time?
I don't know, 10, whatever. And no, the woman comes out, and she was the guy's girlfriend, or I don't know what.
Mm-hmm.
She comes out of the house chasing the guy and shooting at him. And we're in the car right in the line of fire here. And I said to really, I said, put this car in reverse and let's get out of here. No, she's shooting at him. He's running, and I think he was shooting back, and it was like, Jesus Christ, let's get out of here. And I don't know if you noticed, but you can hear bullets. So when in the right
I'll take your word for it.
Right. And we got out of there, and we got onto the highway, back onto Tamiami Trail or whatever it was. And I said, do not turn this car around. Okay, we're going back to civilization. Okay, I'm a kid in the car.
Yeah,
you taking us to people who are shooting at us.
Oh my God, the stuff we've gone through, right? It's a miracle we're still here.
Yeah.
I mean, burning race cars and people shooting at us.
Let me tell you, a lot of people didn't make it.
Yeah, well, this is very true. We're very, very fortunate in that respect. We're still here and still alive and kicking, as the expression goes. So,
well, when I go hunting now, my friend has a ranch over in the Sarasota area, and it's somewhat,
someone's private property as opposed to.
No, it's theirs.
That's what I'm saying. His private property.
Yeah,
as
and they
opposed
have
to
it's fenced
wandering
in.
through.
Yeah, we go. They were over there last week. I couldn't go, but they go, and my grandson shot a hog.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
That's very
shot
cool.
two of them. He shot a big one, but he must have had too much fat on him because he shot him. He went down, and he just jumped up and took off.
Yeah,
because they had that fat shield on them.
How old is your grandson?
Popeye, junior high school.
Wow, he must have just been.
He's been out there before.
Oh, okay. So this wasn't his first hunting experience.
No, he knows what he's doing.
Wow. Well, man, I enjoyed talking with you today. This was a lot of fun. We had a lot of laughs looking back at all the crazy stunts that we've pulled over the years, and want to thank all the folks who have been watching our podcast and sharing them. A lot of folks tuned into the Howard Schnellenberger tribute we did last week, and there was a lot of sharing. So thank you so much for watching. We ask that you please subscribe, and please feel free to share the podcast.
I just want to say something to my friend Gary Jeffries. Okay. Well, we made it.
We'll be back real soon with another Footy podcast. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for listening to the Footy Podcast. To benefit, here's help. For more information about the Footy Podcast or Here's Help, contact us at 305-685-8201. If you need help or know someone who has a substance abuse or alcohol problem, you can call our admissions office at 305-685-8201, extension 224. If you'd like to make a cash donation to Here's Help and join the fight against drug abuse, call Footy at 305-685-8201, extension 227. The executive producer of the Footy Podcast is Sam Zacco, COO of Here's Help.